Welcome to Remember 64, where this week, aliens, man, it's aliens. Also guns. Lots of cool guns. Hi, everyone. We are live this time, by the way. Whether you're watching us live or hearing and listening or watching the VOD of this, we're live tonight. This is great. This is a lot of fun. We'll get more into that in a second. But hello, welcome to the show if you're a returning listener or viewer, and welcome if this is your first time joining us. Here on Remember 64, we play, discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between for the Nintendo 64's funky library. My name is David Petrangelo, and I need double the megabytes to run during this episode. Plug in that expansion pack. It's time to podcast, everybody. Jiggy Look Back with me again. Hello, hello.
What's up? I don't know what else to say. Guns, aliens, pew pew pow. American flags, bang, bang, America.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Let's not pretend this isn't a game focusing around America, okay?
Clearly. Yeah. And if you've been listening the last couple of weeks, I actually have already given this lovely gentleman a shout out, especially in our Spider-Man episode, because I said, hey, wait, Matt kind of should have been on this episode too, but and he's got his Spider-Man t-shirt to go along with it. But for the very first time, the hilarious, the awesome, the PlayStation generation and console creatures host, writer, and all great things, Matt, welcome to the show. Hello, sir.
What's up? I'm very excited to be here. I'm really stoked to hang with you guys and talk some classic games, talk some retro. I feel like in PlayStation generation, I live in the now, and I'm excited to kick it old school with you folks here. Also been bigging you up on PlayStation generation. Gotta say myself, been shouting you folks out last little bit. So excited that you're part of the family and excited to do more stuff together.
You know what? That's what it is. I've said it already before, but now we're part of the console creatures family, I guess you could call it. And essentially, I've said in the past too, like the show's not going to change, but we're just going to have more likely that someone like Matt or Bobby or Steve or whoever might be on the show. But it's just a good way to sort of be a part of a team that already I've been getting to know and work with over the last several years. Why not mesh everything together? Why not? And as far as I can tell, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the Nintendo 64 is a console, so it kind of fits. Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, Matt, you said the now, but let's talk a little PlayStation generation.
Yeah, no. So I run the PlayStation Generation podcast over here on Console Creatures, where we talk all things PlayStation each and every week. We're live Sunday nights at 8. I'm usually joined by very good friends of mine, Denis Raccoon and Rice Boy, and Court Lalonde as well. Court's on a bit of a break right now, but he'll be back in the future. We talk all things PlayStation. We talk about our favorite games. We talk about the news a lot. We always take a bunch of questions from the audience and stuff. So it's a good time. We love our PlayStation. We're the Sony ponies of the channel, and we ride those things proudly.
It's always a fun time too, regardless of what is or isn't happening in any of these in particular consoles. Like, sometimes the news in modern games is up and down depending on the week, depending on the month, and stuff like that. But you guys are always having a good time, so it's always a good listen and watch. As I said before, we are live, I think, for the second time ever for Remember 64 recording an episode. Yeah. Normally we just because we did a couple live streams every once in a while.
We did an intense Scooby-Doo session.
We did it, yeah.
And I am the only one that finished the game, just for the record. That's right.
Snaps.
Also, can I just say how jealous I am that you have Sony ponies? You have like an animal that goes with the Sony pony. Nintendo what?
Nintendo Extendo. You are even better.
Oh, okay.
Is that like a robot? Like that's like a.
You don't know what an Extendo is?
No.
You know those
like the little arm thing, right?
It's like a weapon. It's like a little thing that
we're not talking about.
And it like whips out.
Oh, like the
yeah.
And you can point at things.
Yeah, and it was always one of those things where. In high school, people would like bring them in and try and hide them, and never went well. And it's like, why are you doing that in the halls of a high school? What are you going to do with that thing here? But you never know.
You just point at things.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, one of us points at things. The other one beats people with it. Whatever. To each their own. Each their own. Now
you point.
Now we know where we're all coming from.
Point.
You there? I will beat you.
Stop running in the hole.
that we were missing from Perfect Dark was an extendo. That was so close to perfection. If we only had an extendo,
it could have actually
almost
nice
almost
weapon
Perfect
like
Dark.
that. Almost the Perfect Dark. Yeah, exactly. Yes, we are talking Perfect Dark, by the way. I haven't even said that yet. Smooth sailing already, everybody. This is a game that's been requested a bunch of times, and it's obviously a big title. It's obviously rare. It's a big follow-up for first-person shooters to GoldenEye, which we've done an episode on, which is great. And obviously that's an instant classic as well. In a lot of ways, this game is too. So we will be talking Perfect Dark throughout this episode. But before we jump into the specific game, Matt, this is the sort of initiation part of the show because you haven't been on yet. Let's chat a little bit about your experience growing up with the Nintendo 64, if there was any.
Yeah, I loved my N64 growing up. Like in the early days, I was actually like I was always a PlayStation kid first, and then when the GameCube hit, that thing took over my life. I think I was one of the few that was like, I liked playing my GameCube more than I did my PS2, and the N64 was the foundation.
You guys are the same then.
Perfect. We're already linked up. I remember I got the PS1 on like Christmas way back when, and then I remember the N64 came out, and my friend, like my cousin, had it. So like I'd be at his place all the time, playing Super Mario, playing what was it, 1080? No, Snowboarders, and there was Cool Borders another one. Am I making that up?
No, what is it? The kids snowboard. What is it
called? Something like that. Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, Snowboard Kids. Yeah,
played that all the time at his house, and then a little game called Super Smash Bros. Came out, and I became insufferable. I was like, Mom, what do I got to do to get this thing in my home? You don't understand. There's Mario, there's Pikachu, there's crossovers happening here. And I badgered her enough and complained enough, and I don't know how long she dealt with it, but she eventually caved. Got me one of the it's actually right here. I got it right here. The neon green N64.
Fantastic green.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jungle green.
That. And then yeah, dude, we played so much. Me and my two younger brothers play a ton of Smash, a ton of Mario Party, a ton of Mario Kart. Tony Hawk was one of like my most formative experiences. I remember me and my we had an N64. My buddy down the street had an N64, but I think it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 that made you have the memory card, and neither one of us did. So we rented it, and like we basically like kept like playing the same parts over and over until his mom was a hero and showed up with an expansion pack, like the memory pack for us, and then we actually got to play more than the first hour or whatever it was. But man, I have a lot of warm memories with the N64. It was a very happy time in life where I feel like laid the foundation for a lot of the games that I love now. Yeah, a lot of good vibes.
Yeah, and I know Jiggy's had like lots of experience sort of with a lot of not obscure games, but less obvious picks. Like you had a big library growing up and stuff. And did you, Matt? Like I know you mentioned Tony Hawk and you mentioned, Smash and stuff like that. Was it very much like for me, it was those games, Mario Party, Mario, Zelda, whatever. Was it pretty much the same for you?
Pretty much, like from what I rember, like the ones that
like as far as owning sort of thing or playing the most of.
Yeah. I was very much a rental kid. Like didn't grow up with the most amount of money in the home, so it was always more renting games than purchasing. The games that I bought were very few and far between. Even like my PS1, my dad knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who modded the thing, and then he would get games, on a burnt little disc from a friend at work, and that wasn't really as easy to do on the N64. So for me, it was a lot of renting stuff, and then as soon as I brought it back, like counting the hours until it'll be back on the shelf and try and pick it back up before somebody else did. So for me, it was a lot of like the major stuff, like, like you said, like your Star Foxes, your Tony Hawks, all of that stuff. I don't really remember any like hyper niche games that I would have played a lot of, but I'm going to pull up a list while we talk here and see if one like pops out at me. But it was from what I remember, it was mostly the big stuff.
Yeah. Cause Jiggy, like whether Matt's heard on other episodes or you guys talked about, like any of us talked about it before, but like, for me, it was the very typical stuff. But for you, like you just mentioned in the Spider-Man episode, if anyone heard that you had dozens of games on you at one point. And like, I feel like who had dozens of games at that time at any point? Like, it's crazy. I know you kind of like got lucky in some ways, which is I feel like what you have to do. But like you had those niche titles, and that's such a for me, it just blows my mind, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's really crazy to grow up with some of those games, and like, you know, you got the things that are like the mainstays. You got Zelda, Smash Bros, DK. Then you've got the things that are like sort of people had sometimes. It was like Glover and like Buck Bumble and like those.
Wasn't like Robotron one of them or something? Wasn't that
yeah,
one?
but I would put Robotron down a peg of like the games that no one else had, but for some reason I did. And that would be like, that's your Robotron, that's your Charlie Blast, that's your Paperboy 64, Tonic Trouble.
Right.
Like, yeah, some of those games that are a little more obscure.
And that you don't think of automatically. Like there's so many obvious picks when it comes to games in this generation, even for PlayStation, even on GameCube, there's particular ones that you think of, I think, until we got to like probably like the PS3 and 360 era and stuff like that. Like those, then maybe there was a lot of like way more third party and things like that. But like when it really came to that generation, and then in the 90s especially, it was, and especially with Nintendo, it's very obvious that you're going to pick the Mario and Zelda games and whatever. One of the things that I keep thinking in my head is it's just so disappointing. I don't know how they would have done it, but or what the best way would have been, but a Metroid game on the 64 would be cool just to see what they would do with it. And it's one of the only franchises that doesn't show up, and it's really disappointing. It sucks because I love those games, but at least what we got after that was, and before that was really good. But yeah, I don't know. Any standouts, Matt, or no? Not really.
Nothing that's popping out at me, but was something that did pop out at me as I made my way through this list is the magic that I experienced playing Hey You Pikachu for the first time. Again, like my buddy had it down the street, and we were just like, we can talk to Pikachu. Close the front door. There's no way. And I mean, it was janky as all get out, but like, I mean, it still was just like, only Nintendo gives you those like weird out of left field experiences. And I mean, like, Hey You Pikachu, I just remember being like, how far can we push this? And now it's just like, I genuinely am terrified for the day where we have like a full out AI Pikachu actually responding to our queries. And I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Did you ever see that there was some people that took Hey You Pikachu and they actually, I can't remember if they discovered it was the interface through the controller that made it really bad, or if it was the microphone itself that was really bad. It was one of those like end pieces that they basically just bypassed it and they put like a better microphone on, and the game's programming itself worked super well. And like every prompt worked no problem. So like all the jank came from the controller interface and that microphone.
Really? So there were issues that with the N64 controller. That's just a shocker for me that people had problems with that specifically. That's wild though. I'll have to look this up because no, I've never heard of that, and that just blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah. So like if you have an emulation with a microphone, you probably have a better time. Unlock the true power of Hey You Pikachu.
I've been waiting for this day all my life.
Now you learn something new every day. Here we go.
There you go. All right, guys, this has been a great show. I've got everything I needed to from here. I'm gonna go do that.
I'm glad we're here to help. We're here to help is what it is. We're here to help. All right, so let's jump into Perfect Dark. Let's talk a little bit about some of our experience with it. Jiggy, I'm going to go to you first because I know that you've played this. I know that you have some pretty decent amount of experience with it, at least. Probably more than the rest of us on this show.
Probably.
So yeah, probably. Which is actually a lot of the games that we play. It seems like that. Let's. What was it like for you growing up, and then like obviously you've revisited it since then, probably at least a couple times. Does it feel the same, or like Perfect Dark? Let's go. Let's get into it. Why not?
Yeah. So Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is a game that I did not get to have as a kid because it is rated M. This, along with Conker's Bad Fur Day, are the little like I had to hide to play them sort of a thing. I didn't get to do it till I was like a teenager, till I was a little older. Just for that fact, it was a no-no. Although I'll be honest with you, Conquer I definitely wouldn't be able to swing when I was little, but I bet I could have convinced my dad because he was a super sci-fi nerd. I bet if I would have been able to like explain to him that it's about aliens and stuff, he would have been like, "Oh, that sounds great." But it's basically James Bond aliens. Let's be honest here. It's GoldenEye aliens,
Yeah.
and it's pretty freaking awesome. My experience with it is it's awesome. I love the single player experience. It's so much fun. Sometimes the game could chug, but I think that's part of the charm because they really pushed the N64. This is arguably one of the best looking games on the Nintendo 64. It's great. It's rare. It's quality. It's got an alien with an American flag vest. Like what more can you want?
I mean, if you're looking for anything in a sci-fi setting, that's what it is, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
For myself, I dabbled with this game. So because it was so late in the console, and around this time, I think I was probably playing a whole lot of No Mercy. I think, in 2000, it was like I just played wrestling the whole time. Like that was my life. And then I probably went back to like the stuff I always went back to, which was, going back to Banjo-Kazooie or Zelda or something like that. And I didn't own this game. I did have an expansion pack if I needed to, but probably for other things. I don't even know why I had one, but because I didn't even have DK64, so I don't even know what I was using it for. But so I had a couple of friends who had it. I did rent it a few times, talking about rentals and stuff like that. And knowing, I remember knowing at the time, oh, this is like the sci-fi sequel, so to speak, to GoldenEye. Because I recognized the logo, and I was like, "Oh, that's the Rare logo. They made Diddy Kong Racing, the best game ever, and they made GoldenEye." Like it was at that point where, like, oh, I've seen it enough that a lot of the games I really love is made by this team or made by the same company, which is probably like one of the first times I ever really paid attention to any of that was games like this. And like a lot of their games, pretty much almost every single one that Rare has made, this game is freaking sick. It's great. Like it's really, really good.
Is there another instance of a company that's not the company that developed the console being almost more influential in the games they made for that console? I mean, sure, Zelda's very successful and Mario is very successful, but I mean, when you think of N64, most people think Banjo comes to mind right away, and then GoldenEye. Like so many, it was just banger after banger after banger after banger after banger, and that's all Rare. Like you said, as a kid, you recognized, hey, I've seen that logo. These people made this game. I can't remember any other company that I would have made that connection with as a kid, other than big developers like Nintendo or Sega, for example.
Yeah, like Nintendo makes. I mean, honestly, as a kid, if it was on a Nintendo console, like, oh, Nintendo made this. Like that's just sort of, it's like the joke of parents calling every console an Xbox or a Nintendo.
Yeah,
like that. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, but we have Nintendo at home.
We have. Oh, you guys, you have a Nintendo at home. You don't need to do this or whatever. Yeah, you already have a Nintendo.
Yeah.
No, Mom, that's a PlayStation or vice versa. But yeah, I think, and also too, like we've talked about it too, but like those 2D Donkey Kong games are among my favorite games of all time, especially the second one, which is my favorite game of all time. Like that logo is in my face, like in so many ways. So my point being is that like I kind of latched onto that in a way that I probably never did before. And when I played this game, I never finished it as a kid because I never owned it. It was more just like, let's play some multiplayer, like you would, of course, and let me run through a few levels. I know one of my friends, pretty much probably played the game over and over and over again. We'd go in and just play random stages, or we would play the multiplayer and stuff. So there's a particular house that would be the place to play Perfect Dark, but it was never one that I ever said like, oh, this is one of my favorites on the console. I think because I never did the start to finish, and I only played half the game and then played multiplayer. So it wasn't like GoldenEye where I owned it and it was like level after level, pick a stage, play multiplayer. Like, and it didn't have as much time because roughly 10, 11 months later, whatever it was, it was Xbox time, you know. So, and I got the original Xbox, and then the 64, aside from a couple games, started to collect dust in my house. That's basically how that timeline worked for me. So replaying it now and going through the whole game, not playing multiplayer this time. Yes, it looks amazing at times. We'll get into it, but at times I feel like it's trying to do too much. It's almost too busy, which is impressive that they pulled it off. But I kind of wish, like, sometimes, okay, I need a little less of a lens flare from that light or something, you know, like things like that, like the extra detail, and sometimes felt like it was overdoing it. But the gameplay itself is great. It's tight. It doesn't feel like it's ripping me off. Like I never was, you know, smashing my head against the wall thinking like, oh my God, I'm gripping my controller. Like I'm not going to do this. Like they're really good at balancing. Rare always has been. And you feel that in GoldenEye, and you feel that here. And then you can mess around and kind of do stuff however you want, just like you could in GoldenEye. And then it has a really crazy story. It's not just a James Bond story, you know, like there's a lot of wacky shit happening here, and it's cool.
Yeah. Matt.
Yeah. And I like that part of it, which I don't think I ever really remembered as a kid either. Like I don't remember 25 years ago going, oh my God, the Perfect Dark story is so cool. It was, no, I'm just going to go and shoot some stuff. Like that's really
fair,
what it was. So
fair.
Yeah. Matt.
Man, talk about getting caught off guard. I never played this growing up, similar with like, you know, with other folks. The M rating was enough to dissuade my parents from ever letting me go close to it. I had a couple friends that were in love with this game. They still are to this day. But I was never really, I never got the opportunity to play it. So when Dave reached out being like, you want to come talk Perfect Dark? I was like, this was one of those games that kind of always sat in the back of my mind. I mean, with the remake being so much in the headlines, it was kind of top of mind. I was kind of like, I'm going to play this ahead of when the new one is coming, because that looked cool from what we saw. So when you reached out, and
I honestly thought the same thing. I seriously thought the same thing. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I was like, oh, Perfect Dark. What a great time to hop in and play. I'm sure we're going to see more about it soon. Rest in peace to the initiative and the new game. So when I hopped into this, I was like, all right, bet. Yeah. I had an adventure of a time just starting to play this game, because originally, I picked it up on my Steam. I got it up on the Steam Deck, was running it through an emulator there, and I was like, all right, you know, I'm enjoying this. I'm liking what this is doing, but my God, I even messaged Dave about it. I'm like, these controls are like killing me, because I'm not really a retro gamer. I'm not usually one that goes back to games ever. I'm not really one that replays games, that even the ones that, you know, that are my favorite of all time. I'm not usually the type.
Bad. Now you're one of us. Damn it.
And I know, and that's the problem. That's why I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to step outside of my comfort zone, play something that I always wanted to play but haven't had an opportunity in. So coming into it, I was kind of like, I'm sure this is going to feel like old game is old. And when I was playing it on the Steam Deck, I did have that a little bit. And then I messaged my buddy who's a huge diehard fan, and he's like, no, hold on. I'm like, he's like, you have a Switch too. It's on Nintendo Switch Online. What are you doing? I'm like, I never even considered to look there. So he sent me this like entire controller remap that made it feel much more in line with what today's games feel like. It's obviously not perfect, but it's enough that I was like, okay, I'm getting back into the swing of it. I'm understanding how this game plays. I pulled up a walkthrough pretty much 10 minutes into the first level, because I got so lost. I'm not used to like this type of, like, you know, I don't know, maybe we are handheld way more than we are. Yeah. So I pulled up a walkthrough because I'm like, I know myself, I'm going to start getting frustrated. If I get too frustrated, I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm like, let me just smooth out the edges for myself. And I didn't realize until I started playing this, I had no idea what this game was. Okay. I always thought it was your James Bond, kind of really dark noir, like, and especially like when you're going playing through that Chicago level, I'm like, yes, this vibe. It's so like the rain, everything about this level is so cool. And then the alien shows up, and I was like, excuse me, what do you mean? What do you mean there's aliens in this game? And I texted my friend. He's like, I've been waiting for this message since you started playing it, because I knew you had no idea what you were getting yourself into. And it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun ride all the way through. The story is just completely like a roller coaster to the 11th degree. Much funnier than I think I was ever expecting from this game. In a lot of moments, I will say I enjoyed like the first 75% of the game more than I did the last 25% personally. But it was a really cool experience coming to a game that I thought I knew what it was, coming to a game that I never really expected to truly give an honest chance to, just because it was a relic of time. And this,
Right.
I was very surprised with a lot of it, with how reactive the enemies are, with how good the gunplay feels. There was so much here that I was like, oh, okay, this feels pretty good. Like, this is surpassing my expectations in the best way. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Nice. I think I could see it. If you talked about getting lost in the first level, I hadn't played this game in 18 years, 20 years. Like, it's been a long time since I played this game. And I completely forgot that you had to like open up your laptop or the menu to even start the first mission.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started how long that took me to figure out. Okay.
Like, it took me like 15 minutes. I was like, wait, I know I have to go somewhere. Like, this is a place I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
I'd love to
I hit the start button and I'm like, oh.
Even in the first level, like, I was originally like, okay, I'm gonna play the first level. I'm gonna kick off with like the easiest difficulty, and then I was like, okay, I'm getting lost here. I keep spending all these times on these like 2 bottom floors out of these like 3. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? And then I looked up a walkthrough, and they're like, go punch this lady, do this. I'm like, there's nothing like that in my objectives. What do you mean I'm supposed to be doing all these other things? How am I supposed to? Oh, there's different objectives for different difficulty levels. What a cool way to buy in. Like, at that point, it all started to click, but I did need to like do homework to get to the point where I was like, oh, I just never even considered that the difficulty levels would affect the way that I play the game and the way that the objectives roll out. So cool. But my God,
I didn't remember that was part of it either. When I streamed a couple levels of it back a couple months ago, when I first picked it back up, there was a couple people who were saying on the stream, like, oh, that's different. You have to do, I was like, oh, I see like this hole in the wall or something. And it was like, oh no, that you have to deal with, or you do something with that on the higher difficulty. I was like, oh, okay. There's like an added, offshoot, side mission, if you want to call it that, or side quest sort of idea of progression and survival and things like that. I was like, oh, okay. Because that happens in games, but not so often in games like this in this generation, right? So I thought that was pretty cool to do that as well. I totally forgot that was a thing, but yeah, I think that largely for me, the game was a ton of fun. I think it took me a while to be like, oh, this feel, because I was automatically like, oh, all the controls, everything I do is exactly the same as what GoldenEye is, and it's similar, because GoldenEye is kind of like the back of my hand. I could just pick it up and just know exactly what all the controls are and what they're going to do. Oh, there we go. Here's some gameplay. There we go. Hey, there's Perfect Dark. If anyone's watching, we have it pulled up. So like it took me a few seconds to get going, and then I was like, shit, yeah, this is good stuff. Like, it is. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of little fun gadgets and things like that. I just it was really good to revisit it, because I really needed to remind myself that, yeah, this isn't just GoldenEye with Joanna Dark as the character. Like, there's way more going on here. The levels are more intricate. The enemies are smarter. They're not just rolling and waiting for you to shoot them in the butt or shoot their hats off, like things like that. Like, there's more. You can still do that stuff, but it's you can still have fun with that.
This is more of a GoldenEye sequel than Agent Under Fire, I think, or is it World Is Not Enough? Sorry, not Agent Under Fire.
World's Not Enough, yeah. Which we did roughly a year ago on the show, yeah.
And the thing I like about Perfect Dark versus GoldenEye, whereas you do have the sort of spy objectives in GoldenEye, they're more optional. Whereas like here in Perfect Dark, it's like that's what you're doing. You are a spy. You have to do these specific objectives to accomplish something. And then, like you said, the varying difficulty adds more objectives and more details. And it's not just a simple, like, you go to a computer and you have to type in the code and then you switch to difficulty. And then it's like you have to go in and you have to like type in, you have to like manually type in the code or something. Like, that's not the difference. The difference is you have to go get the code from someone who's on an obscure floor who's like carrying a package, and you have to like bust open the package and then like I'm making up a scenario, but it's like that's what it's like. They just add a
It's
bunch of random crap, and it's like totally new stuff you wouldn't have seen if you didn't select the higher difficulty. And
right.
that's
You're
super.
experiencing something different. Yeah, that's true.
It
Yeah.
gives you incentive to push to the higher difficulty or just play it from there from the get-go.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. I do think it takes the GoldenEye gameplay formula and it just refines it. It's good. I'm not going to say it's better or worse. It really isn't. It's just it's the same, but they added a bit more, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one thing that like I never really adjusted to, and I'm curious as to what you both think of whether it was an issue for you or whether it was just me playing on the Switch, but the sensitivity, especially when you're like fine aiming, was so fragile that like using the sniper like that the beginning of like the second level where you have to snipe those two guys before they shoot the woman on the pier. I restarted that I think like 10 times because like moving to like the smallest degree, I was like, whoa, where am I going? I don't know if it was just a Switch thing or if it's just again a sensitivity thing that I'm not used to because I usually crank the sensitivity way down whenever I'm playing anything. But man, like that was one thing that I was just like, oh wow. And I can't remember, I haven't played GoldenEye in a hot minute, but that was one thing that coming back to it, I was like, man, I did not remember this being as like this so sensitive here.
That's
I ran into
shooting.
that.
Is that
Say that again?
It's just rare reticle shooting. I had the same thing going back and playing Jet Force Gemini recently on stream.
Oh,
that's
even
for some reason rare. It's like you don't notice it in GoldenEye as much because you're really not aiming that often.
True. Yeah.
I mean, it auto sort of centers and you're just kind of like horizontal panning.
It's more chaotic though. Like GoldenEye is welcoming that.
Yeah, run and gun
like
sort
it
of
wants
gameplay.
things to be a little crazier, especially if you're literally playing just to mess around. Like, you know, how many times did you go back to multiple levels in GoldenEye and be like, I just want to see how long I survive? Like that happened all the time, right? It doesn't. You're right. You're not aiming. You're just kind of shooting wherever, right? So, anyways,
yeah, this one you want to be precise because you want to feel like a spy. You want to go, I'm gonna go knock him out quick, and it's like, well, okay, you got to aim. It's really difficult, and it's a trait of rare games. Jet Force Gemini is like that. Star Fox Adventures is like that. Banjo-Tooie is like that. Like anything that has a first-person control scheme in any way, and you have a reticle, it's really sensitive.
Yeah. I think, like I just said about GoldenEye, that's how I felt like that was a little bit different. But for this, I did run into that a couple times, especially at first. And I was playing on the EverDrive emulation. I was playing with the 64 controller. I played through it on the console. I started with the emulation, and then I looked at myself and I looked at my shelf and I was like, wait a second, I have the thing. What am I doing? Which,
so
by the way,
EverDrive when you have the actual cartridge sitting there is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, because the EverDrive's like always plugged in, so it's like an automatic, like whatever.
I don't think there's not really a difference.
I didn't notice a difference. I literally played the first level and I was like, wait, what the fuck am I doing?
It's pretty good. It's the closest thing you can get to playing the game without actually having the game, if that's what you're using. But it's pretty much the same experience, identical. I mean,
I didn't find any difference, honestly. It was just the first level that I repeated, but yeah, it was
the Switch version though. The Switch version though, that is different.
What's the difference?
And the biggest defender, at least when I played, it's possible it's been updated since then, and maybe with the Switch 2, it's a little bit better. They had insane like motion blur effect when you got hit and you took damage. You like get stunned and everything is like super disorienting and blurry. It lasts forever and it's way too much on the Switch.
I almost threw up when like the first time I get really bad motion sickness. So for me, like in the level where you have to like photograph the isotope, the radioactive isotope or whatever, I just ran straight into that room the first time because I was like, what's back here? Oh, how do I take a picture? Oh no. And then the entire screen just like, it's like you've had 75 drinks in 30 seconds and it lasts for like 3 minutes. And I was just like, what? I'm like, is this just my life now? Am I finishing the level like this? Like what is happening?
Yeah.
Am I never going to play this game ever again? I have to put this down. Like,
that is a Switch emulation issue.
Good to know.
I don't know why they haven't fixed it. Interesting enough, there's also an Xbox arcade version of this game, and they revamped the graphics. Like it's not like a full. it is a remake, but it's like not a full, like crazy over the top, like Crash Insane Trilogy sort of a deal. It's like they just sort of
Mhm.
modernized it and they
Mhm.
replaced the character models so they don't look as jank, I guess. Not that they look super
Oh,
jank, but you know what I'm saying. They're
yeah.
more
They
modernized.
look fine.
They look pretty good. But if you look up
Th-
the Xbox arcade version, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I
It's
gotta check that.
a weird in between because it's like it is a remake, but it's not like a full remake. But they did replace assets.
I wonder if the Switch 2 version is that, because like just looking at like the screen right now, what I played seemed much more smoothed out. I don't know, like if that's the right way
Right, like
to
cleaner.
say.
Well, and a lot of the emulation that they've done for the 64 on Switch in general, on any game, looks it's a little
It
bit
it upscales
cleaner
it.
edges, a little
Mhm,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It upscales it and it runs
Um,
at a consistent frame rate. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's pretty much the same. And that's been sort of a pride about the N64 emulation on Switch is that they're actually like it is actual N64 emulation versus like,
Nice.
you know, they're not trying to modernize it. They're not anything. They're just upscaling it and trying to make it as like accurate as possible. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
unfortunately, they have been having glitches with things. Like when Ocarina of Time came out, there was like really bad fog and reflection effects and stuff were broken. And Perfect Dark has had this weird blur thing that's just
Hmm.
it's bad. It's playable, but it's noticeable.
Mhm.
And
Right.
it almost what makes you want to get better so that you don't get hit so much so that you can make it
I
not happen.
I will say that like I never noticed it that badly when I took damage. It was specifically when I got that like when I
Like
went into
stunned or something.
specifically with the radiation, because like
Oh,
I
okay.
took damage and I died plenty of times, don't get me wrong, but like I never
Yeah.
really, it didn't sway anywhere near as hard. What, yeah, that room perfectly as we're talking about it, just past those doors, like that specific time was the worst that ever was. So I don't know, maybe they just didn't fix like a specific instance of it, because when I was taking damage and stuff, I never noticed it. It never hit me so hard that I was like, oh my god, what's going on.
Hmm.
That time though, my god.
It
Yeah.
just lost it. It's-
Dude.
I feel yeah. I experienced it and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought my game like glitched and I had to like reload it because it was that bad.
Man,
It was
that's
forever,
unfortunate because then people run into that and then they're just like, yeah, I can't. I don't want to deal with this. Like it's
right?
because it's
This
a
game
game worth
sucks.
playing. It's a game worth like, come on.
It's funny though, because the way
Um,
that I looked at it in the moment, I was like, "Oh wow, I have like radiation sickness. What a cool way to like show this off. That like it makes me feel like more part of the game, not knowing anything else around it, and like like I
Sure.
said, not having experienced it in any other kind of major situation. I was like, oh, they have some sort of radiation sickness. What a hyper specific thing
And
to
they
add in for
do.
one part of the game. You know what I mean?
It's just not meant to last 20 minutes.
I was like, they really kind of committed to the bit here, but all right, that's on me.
Okay, this is the lane they're in. I guess they're
Yeah.
taking it. It
This is my fault. So
yeah, I think one of the things that really like continually stood out to me was and sure, you know, GoldenEye does have a variety of levels, but like the every stage in this to me felt different from the last and the one that was next. Like it
Mhm.
really, you know, you can still find your way around it. I don't think it's too difficult to find around. Every once in a while, I was like circling around, being like, "Wait, did I miss a door?" That happens in games like this. Not a big deal.
Mhm.
But I never felt like I was playing the same thing over, and never even felt like I had, you know, too many repetitive objectives and things like that. Like it really was, you know, go to the next like mission, be that spy in the next mission, figure it out, save this person, like all this stuff you could expect to have as objectives, but the way it was laid out, what you did, where you were, all of that stuff was great. And what amazed me more about it is because you just know that the limitations of the cartridge and the console is that like they jam packed this thing. Yes, they use the expansion pack to double the memory, but really it's not like they had a ton of space to work with, right? Like the thing I read was I have it here. Where's the note? They had so they started and used the GoldenEye engine, which makes sense, looks and feels that way, and of course it's their engine and stuff. By the time they got to the point where they're like, okay, this is the playable condition and way we want this to be, you know, structured and how we want Perfect Dark to be, they only used 30% of what that engine was originally. They expanded on it so much and did so much work to make this what it is that it was almost just like, oh no, this is just really just point form notes that got us to this point. and then we're just going to build 70% of it from there. So they put a lot of work into this. Yes, this was years later, but it's not like this was the only game they worked on. It's not like it's the only thing they had on their table or plate to make. Like, it was an extensive years in the making kind of thing. And I think it shows. I think it really shows. I think it's really like a marvel of what you could pull off with this console. And I did think every once in a while, like I said, like, okay, I feel like it's over detailed. Like this light that would just showed on the screen that we were watching. I'm like, why does it have to be look like an alien ship is coming at me? Like, why does that light have to look like that? Like, just make a light, like I don't need it. But hey, they could do it. So they did it. Those little tiny features every once in a while felt like, okay, it's just distracting, but maybe I'm just being nitpicky.
I mean, yes, but
yes,
part of it too is like, this is the end of the console life. Whereas like, let's push this as far as we can because people are starting to get interested in next generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same Conquer released around this time, a little bit after, I think.
Very, very close. Yeah.
But yeah, between this and Conquer, those are like the two last hurrahs on the N64, and both are pretty visually demanding games. And I would argue that Perfect Dark is more demanding.
I think
it needed the expansion pack, but
yeah,
it still had massive frame dips. Nothing that makes it unplayable, but I would say more so than GoldenEye for sure. And GoldenEye had quite a few frame dips too. When you get a bunch of enemies on screen and you're dealing with stuff,
you're blowing up 50 mines and grenades. And
it's like that, but like better graphics. So it's just a little, it's a little worse.
Yeah, but even like I know when you say like 4 megabytes is what they could work with, or 8 megabytes is what they could work with this, it's like, okay, that sounds like nothing, and it pretty much is. So it's already amazing that that's what they had to deal with to make these games. But like, just doubling, like if you put this side by side of GoldenEye and play it at the same, like you will, it is a noticeable difference. Yes, it's years later, but it's so much more detailed on even the most minor things. Never mind the lights, just the enemies look better, the guns look better. It plays smoothly when it doesn't dip, even though it doesn't dip too often or too severely. Like, it's just, they did such a great job of making it look and play and feel unique and stuff, that I just like, that alone makes me tell people you got to play this, just to, especially if you didn't and you have experience with other at least shooters or first person shooters on the console. Like, you could play Doom, but Doom looks like Doom. You can play GoldenEye and then you play this, and then you notice the difference for sure.
I do think you're kind of on like spectacular with that, because that's something that really stood out to me, is that how varied, not even just like the levels are, because they are like putting one and then heading to the next one, you're in a completely different space, from like the tight corridors of like the airplane to the massive open, snow covered area. Like, there's so much that like they could so easily reuse textures and cut and paste stuff to make it feel like what you've seen before, but swap out the colors or whatever else. But they never do that, or at least not in any way that really ever stood out to me. And on top of like so many different objectives with the way that like you use your tools and the ways that you use your gadgets, that like, it's not just like one puzzle that you repeat ad nauseum throughout the entire game. It's like, whether you're, the cleaning joists to get through the lasers or whatever else that they're doing, or even just like riding around on that hover bike thing. Like, there's so much that they do that like isn't really used ever again, or used many times over, but it's still there. And it makes each level feel so different compared to what came before. It kind of blew me away, because I was expecting something more formulaic, and maybe that's just my own bias when I think back to that era of gaming, that I was expecting something a little more A to B and B to C and C to D, but it's not really ever that. They play a lot in the space that they have, but they make each one so different that it's just like they really commit to what they're doing in that space.
Yeah. I mean, technically you do need to go from A to B in most of these levels, but it's all the stuff in between that really creates more of like, a spy mission, like Jiggy said before. Like they are making you feel like you're doing that. The only thing I will say is a couple of the stages, which I think one of them is like, I don't know, you're downtown somewhere. I can't remember what it is. You start in the alleyway. It's like the fourth level. Or
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, is that the Chicago one? It's like, oh, be stealthy. And then the second you see someone, they're like, hey, shooter. Like, what? I thought I was... I thought it was in the skies, and I didn't know
in the first
who I
corner.
was. I was like, okay, fine, because I'm just killing everybody. Like, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know, like, what that's about. Like, I don't know if I fucked something up, but every time I played that level, I did have to restart a couple times because I got a little confused on that one, where things were. Like, you have to go in a couple corners and areas to pick things up. I was like, I don't really know where I'm going here. Every time I was like, oh, do I sneak around this guy? But the second you get too close, he turns around and goes, hey, get her. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not a spy in Chicago.
That's the beauty of it. You got to find the little path, the little tunnel way to crawl under and avoid everybody. It's like sometimes it's just unavoidable and it forces you into a fight, right?
But sure, but this was like literally like first guy. You turn the corner, and he's like, it looks like he's selling drugs in the alleyway with a trench coat. All of a sudden, it's just like,
knock him out. Don't kill him. Knock him out.
I usually ended up waiting. What took me like 7 restarts was just like hiding around the corner and waiting for him to like mosey on by and then knocking him out and then taking the other guy out immediately. Because similarly, I ran to the corner. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
Hey, nothing to see here. Just a normal person out doing normal things in a trench coat in the middle of the night.
That's the only thing. Maybe I just wasn't patient enough. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, there's a learning curve. You got to figure out what to do. And that's the thing with like every single level. You have to figure out what to do. You're inevitably going to fail multiple times until you know exactly what you need to do, where you need to go. There's one particular level, and it's the level where it's either this specific level or a level around this where Air Force One crashes and you have to recover the president, and there's a clone of the president.
Yep.
And the clone is evil, naturally. Evil twin. You got to take out the clone and save the president. And there was one or two times where I was like, I can't remember if this is the president or the clone. And then I would just like take him out and be like, oops, that was the president. My bad. Be like,
50-50.
Sorry, Mr. President.
I did that a few times and then used the rewind feature to immediately jump back like 5 seconds. And I was like, nothing happened. We're good. Nothing happened.
I wish I had that. I had to start from the beginning.
Rewind feature is nice.
Yep.
Yeah. It is a nice.
That stuff is key. Yeah. I wish I had that on some games. You know what? And the thing is with a game like this, I actually don't mind every once in a while. Like, okay, I got to redo it again. Cause like you guys sort of both said, you almost like perfect, and it encourages you in a way to kind of do it better. So whether it's a higher difficulty or you're replaying something, just like, and we don't have to, we keep referencing GoldenEye, but it's hard not to and compare it to GoldenEye.
Man. Yeah, that's the game to talk about with this game.
Yeah, but like you do that with that game too. You know, same difficulty or higher, whether you're messing around and doing funny things, just trying to survive as long as you can and blah, 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 and things like that. Like, you know, taking less damage or making it through this particular spot or whatever, like those things are fun in games like this. And there's a few first-person shooters or a few action games or third-person ones like around now that have that idea, but I feel like it is sort of an element of its time too, where you don't get that kind of structure in missions and stuff like that anymore, and that chance to do that. I think.
Let me tell you one of my favorite things about this game, because they just played it in this long play. I'm gonna pause it real quick. And
I literally just like had my mind blown looking at this.
Okay, so they blew up this wall, right? Secrets and Easter eggs and things like that. I live for. Okay, one of my favorite shows of all time is Psych. If you've ever seen the show Psych,
I just started watching it like a couple of weeks ago.
It's a fantastic show. And at some point, I'm not sure what season, maybe like season 3 or so, they started doing a challenge called Spot the Pineapple. And I remember I used to do this live where you could like tweet, you could be like, I found the pineapple and like where it was. So they would just put like a pineapple in every episode, like a random thing. It would just be like in the background and you'd be looking for it, right? It was a fun way to engage. Yeah. Okay. And I even extend that into my content. In my mystery videos, I tend to put little like scavenger hunt things. I'll be like, I did one on Spyro the Dragon, and I'm like, find all the dragon eggs in the video, right? I do stuff like that, and you got to really like look at the details. Like I'll hide it. Perfect Dark does it. Perfect Dark has areas throughout the game where you can find and I'll pause it when it shows up.
Yeah, I noticed it when yeah.
There it is. Cheese right there. They put cheese all throughout the game in various random places.
Every level has it.
That's why they needed double the memory.
Yep. It's for the cheese, man.
It's for the cheese.
It's for the cheese. And it is, I mean, it is a treat to find. It's
so funny. I stumbled across one.
Awesome.
I wish I could remember what level it was, but I stumbled across one of them. And then realized after, once I started looking at more info about the game and stuff, like after I played it, going, oh, that wasn't just like this random thing that I found. Like, oh, they purposely did this for every single stage. Just hilarious, you know, like
got to find the cheese.
Rare games, like Matt, I think you mentioned off the top too. It's like, oh yeah, there's some like humor in this that you didn't expect. There's humor in so many of these Rare's games, and like that's just like this doesn't present itself like that kind of game, but it's there.
And that's why is because like when I ever thought of Perfect Dark, I thought of this like, you know, this noir detective spy mystery, like again, like something with Rare. No, I like, for what I know them as, this kind of lighthearted and fun company to do this like dark and, you know, different thing, which is one of the reasons I was like, okay, well, I have to check this out. And then like the tonal whiplash through the first couple levels, and then that alien shows up and things just go utterly sad. Like when I started running around with like a, what was it, like scuba gear on, I was just like, everything's done, man. Like it's over. Like, whatever semblance of seriousness that was still here, that's out the window at this point.
And then you have an alien, a gray alien. Even when you get to that point where you're in Area 51 and it's like find the alien bodies, you're still like you're locked in and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you save an alien, you're like, holy crap. And then he gets up and he's like, ow, my head.
And I have a lot of it.
Yes. What's your name? Elvis. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like there's Rare right there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I totally forgot. I did not expect the whole that whole part. Like I don't remember that. I don't even know if I ever got to that point. Like I knew maybe I watched someone play it or I've seen videos or whatever, but I don't know I ever actually got to the point where I saved the alien, you know, previously when I was younger and stuff. So I think I knew of it, so I wasn't super surprised, but I think the voice is what got me.
This was like Uncharted 1 all over again, when like most like 90% of the game is like grounded and whatever, and then they pull out like the friggin' Yetis or whatever it was in the last 15 minutes. You're like, what is going on? Yeah. So that obviously it's much earlier in this game compared to that. But like I was like, I just never ever expected any of this.
You know what's really cool? Because Dave, did you say you didn't know that there were going to be aliens or like straight up?
I knew that there was, but I don't remember you like interacting with the aliens the way that you do. Like I remember the whole bodies thing, vaguely remember that. And I know that I've like seen videos, screenshots, whatever it is over the years since I played this, which was so long ago, that they're in it, but I don't remember the interaction type of it, the extent of that.
I'm not sure who did the art off the top of my head. Is it Kev Bayless or not? Maybe not.
I'll look it up.
Whoever did the art, because the cover for the box is really cool. It's the face of Joanna Dark. Okay. And if you look in the one eye, there is a gray alien like in her pupil, like the reflection, which is such a cool detail that is very easy to miss.
That's hiding his face, dude. I never noticed that either. I just until like last year.
I noticed that something was off with one eye, but I thought it was like, I don't know, like a spy or like, I don't know, like, you know, I was like some spy gadget or something to show like, oh, it's like techie or whatever. I never looked so close that I was like, aliens. I was completely caught off guard. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. You're gonna give me 100 guesses.
I don't think many people notice that detail on the cover art. I just like, it's what I do. I just stare at stuff like this for like a billion hours. I just think it's neat. It's a neat detail and sort of shows you what you're getting into, because it does start off like a spy thriller, like right at the beginning.
Yep.
And then you obviously detect it's like, okay, it's future. Like there's obviously some sort of like sci-fi elements to it. And then it just gets weird and it's great. I love it.
I love that they go for the weird. Like it's cool. Whether you know it's there or not, it makes it, I don't know if it makes it more fun, but you know what I mean? Like it has this like this unexpected personality that I think Bond movies, you know, especially if you're looking at the ones that have not come out in the last 12 years, are kind of, they go for the cheese a little bit more. Sometimes it's on purpose, sometimes it's not. But you know, you're gonna expect some like, there's no way a human's actually gonna pull this off. Oh, of course he's getting the lady. Of course he's jumping off a building. Of course the boat does this and that and whatever. And like, you almost expect that to happen, which does in GoldenEye and does in the game as well. It gives you the opportunity to play those. And Tomorrow Never Dies was the same way and stuff. But this is an original idea, original concept that starts the way it does, and then goes for the cheese or goes for the goofiness while also being serious at the same time. And I think nails it, which is they easily could have fucked that up, I think.
You know what's the craziest part too? This game, okay, so it came out in 2000. And this is sort of their depiction of the future. And they could have gone like way, way, way over the top and everything could have been crazy. This feels like a very grounded way to look at the future. And the future in this game is 2023.
Yep. And
they are dealing with aliens, obviously. And they have an artificial intelligence. I'm just saying, we're 2 years past this date, and we have artificial intelligence.
That's right.
And we potentially have aliens. We're just waiting to get the full confirmation. We basically have it, but for some reason they're like, oh, we're gonna hold that back from the public. But I'm just saying, this is a pretty like unintentionally accurate depiction of the future.
If you ever meet anyone named Elvis, be skeptical. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's
especially if they've got like a giant head and a little body. Like if something about that feels off.
No, you know what the real tell is? You know what the real tell is? If they're wearing an American flag tank top, that's how you know.
Would that be?
I'm an American. We don't do that.
Yeah. You're in it, not us.
He's like hiding the tank just off screen, like right on his lap. Yeah.
So I'm saying, when you find someone that wears it, you know they're an alien, right? I mean, if you weren't sus before,
like in Men in Black, right? Like there's always the particular people that they recognize. Like,
work at the post office, aliens.
Yeah.
100%.
I couldn't quite find the design, but there are multiple marketing and release. There's multiple covers for this as well. And I want to pull up this one so we can see it. I gotta zoom it in because it's a little too small if I don't. But this was like one of the
enhance.
Enhance. Damn it. I need to enhance. This is one of the covers. I'm gonna pull up the share screen thing here. This was one of the ads for in Japan, which was like super cool.
I like that this ad came up as you said.
Right.
This is one of those ads.
This is one of those. Yeah, what is this?
Sticker Mule. Yeah. I love Sticker Mule. Shout out. Not sponsored.
There you go. Okay. Look at that.
I love it.
That's stylish as fuck, right? That's cool.
So like Japanese.
It is like, Japanese.
It's giving me like the Ring kind of, you know what I mean? Like
one of the things I thought of was, and it's written down as one of their inspirations. X-Files is one of them, which makes sense. But another one was Ghost in a Shell, which this kind of feels that way. Yep. You know, like the protagonist and the sort of like vibe of this ad. Anyways, when I was looking stuff up, I thought this was like, oh, imagine that was a cover too. Like that was an ad you saw. I don't know what it says underneath, but I thought that was a
perfect
really
dark
cool
if
design.
You kind of just read it.
Well, that says Perfect Dark. Thanks.
There's that little expansion pack disclaimer in the bottom right.
Yep. Nintendo 64 also down there.
Is that also the Rare logo? I've never seen that one before.
Yeah. What I'm wondering about, can you make this bigger? Can you zoom even more?
It'll probably can I enhance? Hang on.
Run a Pythagoras A23
algorithm. There we go.
Where?
Okay, so this bottom right.
One here.
Did this come? Yeah. So right there where the expansion pack is.
Oh shit! Look at the box.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. That looks like a big, like Perfect Dark sort of included expansion pack box I have never seen before.
2,000 yen more. There you go.
Oh, because every time I looked this up and I saw this pop up a couple times, it was saying that this was just an ad. and I saw it a couple different places. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
actually, for some reason, my
7,800
eyes.
yen. What does that translate to? Like $5?
Roughly.
In
I
this
think that's like
economy,
It's like
I think it's
10,
like
10 Canadian
$78.
dollars, like $5 American dollars, right? Something like that.
let's see.
I'm gonna
Is
check.
that how
Right
It's
now.
currency
about
works?
right. Yeah, that's how currency works. Right now, as of today, 7,800 Japanese yen is 52.40 US.
Oh, what a bargain.
But yeah,
Um,
I always remember that it's like 1,000 yen is roughly like 10 Canadian dollars, like roughly, obviously.
Actually, that's almost exact. Right now, it's 72
Yeah.
per $72 Canadian is 7,800 yen. Yeah,
Mm,
so pretty close.
that
Yeah,
is
so it's
pretty
still
close.
kind of around that range. That's cool.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Anyways, sidetrack. I just noticed that while I was looking up the other stuff.
Something that I wanted to shout out as we're kind of talking about like some of like the doofier kind of tone with moments in this game. The
Yeah.
thing that constantly killed me like through the entire game was just the enemies and their design. I loved how doofy they were. Like when they like run at you and they're like, and like they kind of do this whole like half turn swivel at you. Like every time I ran into just like any of the normal enemies, I'm like, all right, buddy, give me something here. Work it. Like, let's go. I loved how ridiculous they were.
Yeah, and that's again, I think that's the whole rare approach thing, right? Like we talked about it when we did the world is not enough. I said Torn Never Dies before, but the world is not enough. When we played that game last year, Jiggy, we were talking about it and how
we called it the wrong James Bond game like 3 times
like
between
7
us.
times.
Like I
Yeah,
called it Agent Under Fire. You called it it's awesome.
it was Octopussy, right? It was that one.
Do
Yeah.
you mean Casino Royale? I just wanted to feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Yeah,
Casino,
right.
yeah. It was whatever the last one was called. It was that. We sort of mentioned how like yes, obviously it's made by different companies, so that's all part of it too. But it's sort of missing some of that goofiness fun that GoldenEye had, and this has, which is why this reminded me of this, Matt.
Mhm.
Is that like you can mess around with the enemies, they'll do some funny things sometimes, whether you shoot at them or not, like roll around or they'll turn around kind of funny and stuff. And like not a lot of that was present in that other Bond game, and at least they kept that here. They kept that here. Like it starts with a serious tone, like we've said, but then after that, it's like, oh yeah, there's all these little hints of fun that they keep inserting in it, and it's a dark game largely, and I think that sort of lightens things up in a lot of ways, which I think it needs. I think sometimes it kind of needs that. So there was something else I was trying to find there. Oh yeah, and then talking about sort of how the game looks, how it acts, and things like that. The expansion pack was basically necessary to play this game. You couldn't play any of the campaign, I believe, without it. You could play like deathmatch or something, I think it was, in multiplayer, and like that's it. And then a couple like side mission things or something. But otherwise, forget it. Like you couldn't really play this game. So it was pretty much a necessity. I think there were some boxes that came with it, but at this point, I think it was, well, if you have Donkey Kong, you probably have it, or if you have another game that needs it, you probably have it. But yeah, this is one of the games that was like absolutely necessary, because what we're watching in the campaign, you wouldn't see this, like you wouldn't be able to play it. And it was only 30%, 35% of the game was playable without the expansion pack. So it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah. None of the
completely
story.
necessary.
It's none of the story.
Yeah, none of the story. Yeah. And here we go. Alien weapons, baby.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to skip ahead, because you do get it reaches a point where you're in alien ships, you're navigating through them, you're getting alien weaponry, you're raising heck. Like, it's awesome. The aliens are very interesting too, because there are a couple different species you got here. Right. And for the people that called me out on my wonderful Mysteries of Perfect Dark video for mispronouncing virtually all of them, I won't pronounce them, because every time I go to pronounce them, I completely forget how to pronounce them.
I gotta pull them up. I'll try.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. There is one alien species that you actually go on the ship, and you basically stop them from being able to use their weapons. Right. But that alien species isn't shown, and there's actually concept art of what they look like, and they look like little ships. Like they look
That's
like
cool.
mini ships. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
Fun little tidbit for you.
I was half expecting some of the ants to run across from Jet Force Gemini.
Right. Right.
I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna have like one enemy that just like runs across the screen or something. You know what I mean? Or like in the background.
Yeah, like a bunch of stuff like that. Or like in Jet
Yeah.
Force Gemini, you can make all the enemies look like Mr. Pants.
Oh,
Like something like
yeah.
that. That'd be awesome.
Right. Yeah. Like I just expected like that to be one of the Easter eggs, you know, to throw one of those guys in or something, or even like one of the crew, one of the Gemini crew, like to just be like standing there in the background or like on a poster
Yeah.
or something like that. Because what was it?
Or
I think it's in Banjo-Kazooie. They have
the posters for
the
Banjo-Tooie.
posters. Yeah, and Conquer
Mhm.
has a poster in at one of the
Rusty
levels
Bucket
or
Bay.
something.
Yep.
Yeah. There's okay. So here we go. Here's the alien names. I would just say Mayans, but I don't think that's what it is. Maians.
Hey, if
The
if it's obvious on how to pronounce it, it's probably wrong because that's what I did.
that's right.
So
And the Skadar. I'm gonna say it's Skadar instead of Skadar.
I think I said Skeetar, and people got really mad at me.
Did Dave just take himself out because he mispronounced? Okay.
Oh no! Everyone
Dave,
dropped.
Dave, did you just? Dave, what did you do?
Nothing. I didn't do anything.
What just happened?
I don't know. Everyone
You
just
disappeared first.
everything disappeared at the same time for me.
Dave, you just totally like disappeared, and it was really
It's
funny.
like I shut the whole thing down.
You're like, they're not going to catch me mispronouncing these names. I'm going to force an error.
Yeah. Distraction.
Yeah. What names?
What are you talking about? We're talking about a different game. We're talking about Spider-Man. What was I gonna? There was something else I had pulled up too. What was it? I lost it, man.
Man, I hate it when that
Oh,
happens.
Nuts.
Oh man, I'm so organized, but not at all. There is one thing. I don't know if Tim's still in the chat with us live or not, but
He was a few minutes ago.
yeah, but he has when I was asking people to send in their thoughts of the game, he sent in a voicemail to Voicecast, which is something yeah. So I wanted to make sure I played that because he's got some thoughts in the recorded.
Oh man,
message.
gotta play it.
I'm gonna pull that up. Even if he's not watching live, he'll catch it in the replay. But
he said he's gonna watch the VOD.
Here we go. If you guys can't hear it, just let me know. But I'm gonna try and play it now.
Hey guys, just submitting a short voice cast about Perfect Dark because this game is awesome. I think what I'm going to do is just compare it to 007, as it's basically the same game if Natalia was an alien and Sean Bean was an alien. So I think Perfect Dark beats 007 in 3 key categories, which would be weapons. While 007 has better base guns, I think the secondary features of Perfect Dark's guns, like the Super Dragon being a grenade launcher, is way better than 007. Level design, I think Perfect Dark beats 007 as there's way less returning to the same levels over and over. And multiplayer. Multiplayer in Perfect Dark is so much better, with way more guns and variations of things you can do, and the ability to play with sims. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. I'm really enjoying it. See ya.
Nice. Well, Tim, thanks, buddy, for sending us that. That's I forgot to mention that too about the multiplayer, that there's bots as well, which is great. I booted that up just a tiny bit. I didn't get too much time with it, but the fact that that's an option is awesome. And I didn't play multiplayer this time because it's hard to, but Jiggy, because you grew up playing this more than we did, was multiplayer a thing for you? No, it wasn't. Oh, no.
Never.
Sorry, stupid question.
Like virtually never played multiplayer in this game. I did play multiplayer in GoldenEye. No, it never came up. I don't know if it's really I can't even remember one time really playing it, if I'm being honest with you.
Crazy.
Like GoldenEye was the multiplayer game that we played. I don't think we even bothered to look at anything else.
Yeah.
And if we did go to something else, it wouldn't be the same genre. It would be something different, like Smash Bros. Or
Right.
Diddy Kong Racing, or
Right.
you know, something totally different. Mario Party. Put the red mark on our hands. Yeah, no, we didn't. We didn't. Maybe I also think like maybe I'm sort of a weird judge for this game because I like it and I know quite a bit about it, but I also
Right.
didn't get into it till way after it was sort of mainstream out there, you know, because I was younger. I was probably what 6 or 7 when this game came out. Ain't no way a little 6-7-year-old was allowed to play rated M games. So
Sure.
like
Yeah.
multiplayer at the time that this game was a thing, like would have been much older than me.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I said earlier, like I did play it, but it wasn't, you know, if you're gonna go to a FPS shooter on 64, like yeah, we were going to GoldenEye largely. It was more just the main house that did have it. My buddy that did have it was, yeah, let's just play that because you're the guy who has that, and we have a few controllers and stuff, right?
yeah,
But
and I never played. I mean, to be fair, like the James Bond route, I did have Quantum of Solace, and I never played the multiplayer. Like, never. I only did the single player.
Was it Quantum of Solace, or was it The Spy Who Shagged Me, or what was?
yeah. Okay. Now we're just going into Austin Powers. Great. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Because like all these games had that. It's a matter of, but what hooked people was pretty much GoldenEye. Like and everyone was familiar and comfortable with it too, right? I guess that's part of it. But nothing wrong with that.
Whether it was GoldenEye or unannounced Tom Holland 007 project, like either one of those was like just a classic on the N64.
Classic 64.
Totally.
The other thing too is Jiggy, I sent this to you the other day when we recorded something, but I still can't find if this was, I can't tell if Chris Seaver, who is someone who worked at Rare, basically the creator of Conquer, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
He's the voice of Conquer.
What's that?
He's the voice of Conquer.
Voice of Conquer, yeah.
Voice of Conquer, sort of creator of Conquer.
Yeah. Wow, this is loading really slowly. I don't know why. He was posting something, and this was around, Matt alluded to it a couple minutes ago too, earlier about the shit show around Microsoft and firings and Perfect Dark and all that kind of crap, right? We don't have to dwell on it too much, but point is, he posted this, which was a bunch of screenshots from a presentation that he and others did with when they were still with Rare about a Perfect Dark sequel. I don't see it anywhere where it says specifically this was a 64 game, but it would have been one of the follow-up or ideas for follow-ups and stuff. And there's a whole bunch of notes about the story and the setting and the fact that it could potentially have involved her sister and all these sort of like concept arts and stuff like that. Like I'm going to go back to his, profile and stuff, because he posted a bunch of these. I'm going to have to go like way, way down, but like, oh, look, it's Epstein. Look at that. Lovely.
Oh, yeah.
There's an epilogue.
That's the kind of thing Chris Seaver would post about for sure.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. So anyways, there's like, he posted 14, 15 different posts of different ideas and stuff here, like the death of Joanna Dark, like all these different crazy things on here. And it's just what this game or what this franchise could have been is so sad.
So
that it hasn't happened.
Forgive my ignorance here for a sec, but like, I know we had Perfect Dark Zero, which like, I know from what I understand, the fans of these games are more divided on. Is there a reason we didn't get like a more direct sequel to this? Like, did it not sell well in the time? Because I've always heard about how good this game is and how many people like revere and love Perfect Dark. Do we know why there wasn't like a actual like Perfect Dark 2 in the moment?
No, there was a planned sequel with her
Mhm.
sister.
Yeah.
I forget what it was.
It was
Tentatively called,
supposed to
but
be called Velvet Dark.
Velvet Dark. Yes, that's
Velvet
right.
Dark.
So that was planned, and they started doing things like that. You can see like their character models and stuff like that.
Yeah, like pre-production stuff.
And
Yeah.
then I think honestly, this might have just been a Microsoft buyout, sort of lost in translation situation, which happened with quite a few games. And the games that were in development at the time were the games that sort of transitioned and got later releases. And so Perfect Dark, like a sequel was planned, scrapped. Sounds like another one was planned, scrapped, but they wanted to do something with it and they ended up making a prequel, probably just because they didn't, maybe they had intentions of doing a proper sequel.
Right.
And they were like, well, maybe we can just do a prequel like right now so we can kind of lead up to where she was, like explain her origin. Or maybe that's just what interested them a little bit more, like explaining her origin before they expanded upon it. But yeah, I don't know if there's a particular reason why they never properly made a
Yeah.
sequel. I mean, they were.
Wait, there are aliens in this game?
Yeah, right.
I didn't see any. I don't know. What's part of it, I think, too, is that I think definitely the whole Microsoft thing and Nintendo and all that stuff was part of it. And I didn't realize this, but a lot of the people that obviously that made GoldenEye made this game, and significant names on the project, like I can't remember the guy's full name. Is it Martin Hollis? Yeah, Martin Hollis was one of the guys that was like, he was the director of Perfect Dark and left halfway through the development.
Gotcha.
because of working conditions is what it's referring to in the things that I've seen. Whatever working conditions meant at the time, he left halfway through, which would have been probably, late 98, maybe sometime early 99, something like that. Because then the game came out in 2000.
I doubt it was in development like an insane amount of time, because if this is built off the GoldenEye engine, when that release,
a couple years, maybe at the most.
Yeah,
So
you
the-
imagine crunch must have been brutal, especially in
Yeah.
that time frame. Like, good luck
Yeah.
ever leaving.
yeah, and that's the thing. They were small teams. They were divvied up. They were
Yeah.
doing things. I didn't even know Chris Seaver was involved with Perfect Dark. Not that I haven't really dove into the development of Perfect Dark so much. I plan to. But I didn't know Chris Seaver was involved in that. So it's interesting that he's the one posting, because he's focused on Conquer as far as I mean, same time frame. Like, he's focused on Conquer, and then right after that, he went into conceptualizing a Conquer sequel, and then ended up doing Live and Reloaded, which I suppose you could be working on multiple projects at a time. But it seemed like once they were kind of in something, for the most part, unless you're like in the music department, you were pretty much
Right.
stuck in like one particular game until it was
One
seen
thing.
to its
Yeah.
finish.
Well, these series of posts he wrote when he sort of introed at the beginning, which is the one I had up before. He says, first of all, the way he wrote it was, this is after the announcement that the new one was being canceled. He goes, not that it matters anymore, but I might as well serialize this again here. He said that these shots that we're looking at here and these posts that he had, this was a pitch that they made and was put together in a week. So it was one of those things that happened really quickly and put together and stuff. So these are ideas that they had. Look at that alien actually looks. Look at Elvis.
I don't like that new model. Ugh.
Yeah, it looks
Give me
like
the
he's
big
from
head.
Black.
Yeah, his head went from like vertical to horizontal, and I don't like it.
His head went from like, I'm a genius alien with telepathic powers, to freaking Hey Arnold.
To Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, fantastic show. Let's be honest.
Great
Fantastic
We could have said Stewie from Family
Great
Guy,
show.
but we both went to Hey Arnold, so perfect.
No. Hey Arnold is much better. Let's be honest. That's much better. Yeah. So, and then the other thing is, I mentioned that the Hollis and a couple of the guys left. The reason why I brought that up too, and I meant to earlier, was that they went on and created a new studio, which is sort of a semi-spiritual successor to what Perfect Dark and GoldenEye was. What's the name of it? It was Free Radical Design, and they made the Time Splitters games, which have been,
that makes total sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and they very much feel like they have that rare personality. They're a little bit goofy, but science fiction, kind of like Perfect Dark is. Cool guns, different missions. Like, I haven't played them in a while, but I do remember those games being a ton of fun. And I think I owned the first one and played the second one quite a bit. But you know, those are known to be great games. And then what happened was that studio, I think, either got bought or got shuttered by Crytek. And then some of these guys that made the Time Splitters, not everyone, but some of them helped make the Crisis games as well. The first two, at least.
Yeah.
And those games are also,
yeah,
you know, cool games as well.
Following that trail makes total sense.
Yeah.
And the fact
when
that
you really...
Crisis is that like cutting edge graphical game, like even to this day, like it's a joke, like can it run Crisis? Be like, yeah, to see that stem from Perfect Dark and the boundaries it was pushing on the N64, total sense. Makes total sense.
I remember when the first Crisis, especially, and definitely the second one too, when those came out, it was like push the limits of everything. Like, and I don't think it was on consoles at first. I think it only began on PC, and it was like, you gotta get a beefy motherfucker to even get this thing to run the menu. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Good luck.
And I never played it until much later, until they hit consoles, because I didn't have that machine. Cool games though, really cool games. I don't know if we missed anything about Perfect Dark. I think when it really comes down to it, Matt, like you said earlier, like, oh, this is great that I got to play it for the first time and stuff. For anyone that has minimal experience, barely remembers it, or someone who hasn't played it before, do you recommend kind of going in the way that you did, like semi-blind? I mean, if anyone's listening or watching this, they know there's aliens now, or at least I think we think that there's aliens. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out, everyone. Yeah, it was. Did you like the way you approached this and how it went in? And do you recommend sort of someone going in and playing this for the first time?
I do, because I think it surpassed my expectations, and admittedly I think I was expecting a much rougher experience overall, and what I got was something that was surprisingly well put together, surprisingly smart, a lot of fun. I do recommend messing with the controls, to updating it for anybody who hasn't really played a lot of retro in recent years, to kind of update those controls where you can. And again, like, don't be ashamed. And like, I went to GameFAQs for the first time in Lord knows how many years. But what a fun memory, like walk down memory lane that was for me. Like, this game in its design does feel old game design at points. So I feel like for anybody who is journeying into it, I think it is well worth your time. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's surprising in a lot of ways that you might not really be expecting. Just don't be afraid to mess with the controls, and don't be afraid to look up a walkthrough if you're getting frustrated, because these games are meant to be fun, right? Like, try and do whatever you will, but if you start getting stuck, just look it up. I had a lot of fun, like, and genuinely, I am now looking forward to exploring more retro games in a way that I haven't really in a long time, because Perfect Dark surpassed my expectations and kind of brought me back to a space that I haven't really been in a long time. So yeah, no, I would definitely recommend people go back and check it out.
Nice. Well, we got another 200-ish games left on this library, Jiggy, something like that.
That's it.
That's right.
So we'll pick a doozy next time. How about that? Or what is a perceived doozy? And then we'll see what you have to say. But don't worry, we've already played Superman. We've already played Jiggy's favorite game, the Power Rangers game, and I don't know. And Carmageddon. Carmageddon's really bad.
Let me just tell you, the Power Rangers game made such an impact on Dave. Dave can't go one single episode without bringing it up. Like, he said, it's my favorite, but it's really his.
Now I'm curious.
Okay, let me sell it to you. Okay,
hit me.
It's sort of like an over the top. It's not a twin stick shooter, but it's sort of like that style. Like you press A and you shoot, but you're doing like epic karate moves, like shooting energy. Yeah. Okay. And so you have like beat 'em up sections where you're navigating through a window, and then it switches to Megazord battles, and you can customize your Megazord and you fight, and it's like first person.
Say no more. I'm in.
Yeah.
I was a huge Power Rangers kid, so you're speaking my language.
There's nothing else to say because there's nothing else in it. There's nothing else to. It's not. You don't need to say more.
Oh, there is more. There is more. You can.
Oh, there's the driving section.
Yeah. There's driving sections. We'll leave it at that.
Is this Power Rangers?
If you want to call it driving.
Yes. Yes. Lightspeed Rescue.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It has a massive 25 on Metacritic and 34% on Game Rankings. Dave, you're being far too critical here.
I'm a terrible.
It definitely is not the worst game that we've played. I'll say that much, but it's definitely not even close
really.
to the best.
Come on. What was? I don't know. I feel like it was. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I feel like it was. I don't know.
I mean, I think
You had better
Superman's,
things to say. You had better things to say about Superman than I did.
That's true. That's true. But it's mostly about
So
the
part of it's
sandbox,
nostalgia based.
treating it like a sandbox mode.
The sandbox.
But I did
thing,
it.
yeah,
I did
which was
have
an
Power
approach.
Rangers growing up. I have the Game Boy
about
version too, which is more like classic, like NES TMNT.
That's different. That's
Yeah.
a whole other thing. That's even better. So,
I was gonna say, I was just gonna say, if you're looking for, rather than customizing the controls to how you want them or almost want them on the Switch version, don't underestimate the Xbox Arcade version, because that is twin stick like modern controls. So
there you go.
You can go in and just play it like that right off the bat.
yeah, which they did with GoldenEye as an option as well. If you play the re-release that they came out with last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, same thing. You can play that fully twin stick if you wanted to.
Yep.
It's on the one that's on Game Pass.
And I mean, everything's an Xbox nowadays, so you can play that anywhere you want.
Everything's an Xbox, But I played this on an Xbox because Mom says I already had an Xbox, so I had to play it on my Xbox. Jiggy, obviously, you recommend people playing this and stuff as well.
Oh,
I think we're all kind of on the same
this
page of that.
This is a no-brainer. This is one. This is a big one. This is a good one. This is one of the better N64 titles. It may not be like my favorite Rare game, but it's awesome. It's a great first-person shooter. It's got elements of Rare that I really like. But what's not to love here? It's great.
Yeah. It's just got so much to offer. It does so much with the console. Like even especially if you have experience playing other games on the N64 and knowing the type of limitations that they had at the time of this and what they pulled off. Like I feel like that enhanced my experience playing it, was knowing like, holy shit, they did this. That's freaking cool. Like I don't know. I really appreciate that was even able to be done, which at the time as a kid, you don't notice those things. You don't know how all this stuff works, or have any idea that it's even, art or a task or anything like that. It's just, they made a game. Cool. Let's go rent the game. Like that's pretty much it. Right. So looking at it when you're older and sort of understanding how everything goes is great. So play Perfect Dark, everybody, regardless of how you do, find a way. It sounds like the Switch version is great. The Xbox one's an option. And on the original hardware, like I did, was honestly was great. It ran well and had a good time with it. Oh, also, and I completely forgot, I played the Game Boy Color version. Because I also own that because I'm a crazy person. It's right there. And it has a rumble pack. That's right. It has a rumble pack on it. You put a little AAA battery in it, and when you get shot or when you shoot, bzz, bzz, bzz. It's got that and Pokemon
awesome.
Pinball both have it. Yeah.
You ever hear the thing about the Game Boy camera? And you could like potentially transfer your likeness as like a model on the face
onto the multiplayer faces. Yeah. That's what you're supposed. They did that and then they dropped it. Seems like there's a couple of reasons potentially why, but I don't know if it's 100%.
It's probably just like inappropriate pictures. I don't know. I feel like it's not technological. I feel like it's like a Nintendo being like, we don't want people to take pictures of inappropriate things and putting like, I would definitely like do a butt face. Like that's hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Be like, what is that? That's a picture of my butt. It's just like butt face.
It would go south very fast.
Yeah. And that's just the beginning.
Yeah. And that's just the first picture. Yeah. It's probably stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. But before we get out of here, Matt, let's chat a little bit more about PlayStation Generation. You guys go live every week, I'm pretty sure, right? So let's chat about that and what might be coming up in the next over the course of the summer, because this episode, as of this recording, will be out in a couple weeks. Around this time, PlayStation's still going on strong. So what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation Generation, we run 8 p.m. Eastern every Sunday here on youtube.com/consolecreatures. We pick topics based on the news. We kind of run with what's going on. We talk about whatever's going on in the industry. We talk game of the year stuff and everything in between. Bobby's been trying to get us to do some old school episodes talking about the PS1 and stuff. So maybe that's an area that we venture into, and maybe do a bit of a crossover with some Remember 64 folks who might be willing to talk to us about the PS1. But yeah, come hang out with us. You can find us each and every week here.
Amazing. Jiggy, if the kitten allows you, what's happening over? She's chomping away at your finger, scratching your face. Look at her go! Look at her go!
Yep,
I love this.
she's
Once
great.
again, the visuals come from Jiggy's window, not mine.
She's very sweet.
What's happening, buddy?
Oh, working on a fantastic. Actually, I was doing it right before this call, right before we hopped in the podcast. I was working on my Viva Pinata video, which I'm super excited about. A full like development retrospective style video. People don't talk about that game a whole lot, so I'm excited to give it some love. And just moving into some more rare stuff. As usual, I always find something to talk about.
Yeah,
So
there's always something there, man.
it's great. It's great.
Check out
Living
those
the
awesome
dream.
videos. Jiggy digs in a lot of unique ways, which is great.
Oh, full segue from this. Check out my Mysteries of Perfect Dark video. So there's a lot of cool stuff and things you can look for in the game, including
Like
maybe
cheese.
some stop and swap references, some
Oh
cheese.
yeah,
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, there you go. And then here, Remember 64, you can catch us on Instagram and Blue Sky, Remember 64 Show. Also support the show on Patreon for Remember 64 Show as well. Episodes early, extra videos, pre-chat, post-chat, goofy stuff, random videos. And I'm going to start doing some small shorts of sort of previews of the games that are coming up on the show, saying like, hey, this is how I feel in the first couple of hours that I played this. It's Perfect Dark. You know, at this point, you probably have seen the one or about to see the one about F-Zero X. You probably know how we feel about those games, but I'm going to put one up anyway, and Patreon gets it first, and then it hits YouTube after that. So that's a way to sort of get some extra content on your eyeballs and your ears. Also, rate the podcast and tell your friends. That's always fun to do. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. But also, make sure you check out consolecreatures.com, because that is where you'll find these shows. You'll find writing from myself and Matt and many others. A lot of the time it is indie games that I'm covering. Matt kind of covers a gamut of a bunch of different types of games, but I'm largely the indie guy. So that's where you can find some of my writing as well. And every once in a while, some news pieces from him and I as well. But the Creature Cast, PlayStation Generation, Remember 64, all part of consolecreatures.com. And until next time, everybody, play some Perfect Dark. We'll see you next time. Ciao. Goodbye.
Oh.
Peace.
Peace.